I am having a day where I am not feeling it myself personally. Once again, the dreaded fever has overcome me a little bit. I have been doing some quiet work on Project Ruby to keep things going, and I'm going to post an update here on what I've been doing in the last 3 to 4 days in bits and pieces. I've been doing a variety of different things. I don't think I'm able to focus on one thing at the moment, but that's ideal as long as you can organise yourself and make sure you know what parts are what. I'm going to show you a few interesting things that I've actually discovered about this car. Yes, I have been messing about at the back of the car. It's a part of the car that I have kind of neglected. I did take the back bumper off because it's only 2 screws and 2 13mm bolts that go behind here, and there was no rust to report. I only took it off to actually clean it up after I just fitted the exhaust, but it took 5 minutes. It literally was that. However, I made the mistake of putting the bumper back on, and then I forgot to put the electrics back in, so I've got to get a screwdriver in there and put the 2 connectors back on there. As you can see, I have showed you the boot before, but it's pretty honest. It's not the best looking Mark III boot you've ever seen in the world, but there's no rust. And I've just put some rust converter in the corners, but it's just dirt. It's just dirt. I'm going to clean that off with a bit of white spit thinners, which is what I'm doing here. I just wanted to get these lights off and make sure it's all clean behind. I did the same thing with Project Beatrix in taking these off, and these are a very similar construction to the way these fit. Someone who's been used to Mark 1 rear lights and now an absolute faff to change a bulb if you've ever changed a bulb in a Mark 1. But most cars have this kind of construction where we have mounting points all at the back here. These are, they're not even 10s, they're 11 mils. What a stupid size. And then we've got the electrical connector, and then we can just push these tabs in and that will release the bulbs. And the bulbs, yeah, they're all intact. I'll tell you what though, on the passenger side, I'm not happy. Someone somewhere has broken a bulb because there was lots of glass just moving around inside the actual assembly itself. See, quite interesting actually. It's almost pre-printed circuit board. This is not a printed circuit board. It's actually just metal lines going everywhere. That's quite interesting. Obviously, in these, by the time these cars were around, printed circuit boards were a thing. So this metal mesh was replaced with like a plastic printed circuit board. We've got the foam, which is in decent condition. And the original rear lights, as depicted by the chassis number on all of them, they're not in the most brilliant condition. There was a fair few scratches to this one, but they're the originals and they're not cracked, so they're staying with the car. But my God, who's been in here before? Honest to God, the butchery is ridiculous. I reckon somebody was haphazardous. I could hear there's still bits of glass from an old bulb. It's obviously some has gone in there and some has gone in here. Well, what the hell's that about? I've got to clean this up anyway. But it's still usable, and that still fits in very nicely. I wouldn't have known about that if hadn't taken it off. It just goes to show some of the slapdash nature of whoever. Well, I suspect it was the family. I personally think the family were responsible for that, and I think the family were totally responsible for this shambolic mess and this. And I think they are also responsible. Well, yeah, they are definitely responsible for the shambolic mess at the front of the car. Now, you may, as I say, I'm just going to whip this cover off for you. I will show you one thing. Oh boy, it's that Lion battery that we all hate. That battery is working absolutely fine. That smart charger has brought that back to life. So for now, it will do, because it's a cost of £50 that I can spend elsewhere, and we are mostly plumbed in. I'm waiting for the hose clips as usual. We've put a couple of things back in place, but nothing really much since the last episode. But what I have done is, as you saw, I've clay barred it. I haven't polished it at all, but what I have been doing is trying to improve the condition of this side. And as you can see, guys, we have no stupid gaffer tape and no wood on the window. Why is that? Oh yes, I've got a surprise for you there. And there'll be a surprise to the previous owner, who I haven't told I have discovered this. But basically, can you see that? That is absolutely disgusting. I've just done a bit of polishing on this wing and a bit of polishing just here and from about here. I've polished this side. Can you see the colour difference? I don't know if you can see, maybe not, but there is a colour difference. And that just goes to show how much diamond white oxidizes, and actually it's gone a bit yellow, more yellow than white. So I am going to have a lot of pleasure in cutting this with just some standard auto glue resin polish. I don't think it needs anything other than that. But this is utterly disgusting. I think you can see here, there was a line sort of here. Now you can see where I have been polishing this, by the way, and it was out here. I'm not joking. When I wiped this panel clear, you could clearly see the problem. It stands out a mile. Even on camera, it stands out a mile. So it comes round here, round here, round here, and I've shrank it. It did overspray to this point, and then there was evidence of someone putting masking tape here. Why would you, if you're repairing this, because there's a bit of rust under there, I've got to say there's metal under there, so I reckon someone's put a skim of filler, but I am going to tidy that up as much as I can and minimise it. This is about minimising. We know there's been a repair and there's a reason for that repair, but why, oh God, did they have to overspray by about 20 million miles? It just fathoms me. The same person did the same job at the back, and I no doubt the same slapdash nature was responsible for breaking that rear light lens, well, cracking it in slight places. But I'm continuing to push this back in. Can you see where it stops here? Yeah? This was up here. I think I started polishing up here. I'm not joking, it went there. Now I've managed to polish it back all the way to this point, and it will keep coming down. We're noticing a few imperfections here and there, but there you go. There is your masking tape, the old masking tape line. Absolutely ridiculous. As I say, I'm going to polish that all the way back in as much as I can, and it's going well and it's looking much better. It's just stupid, honestly. Right, window regulator. We are going to be taking this out in the next episode. However, I think personally, I have a bookmark on my computer of all the parts that I think I might need. So I've bookmarked it on eBay and wherever I can get the parts. I have deleted the bookmark for a new window regulator. This regulator, if I can help it, is staying in this car. It's going to cost me £87 for a new one. And then you have to cut the wiring. There has to be some sort of adaptation. And I don't like that when you're cutting the old wire, or cut the old connectors off. It's really a problem. Now this door, there's a second problem with this door. Can you see how it bows out a little bit more at the top? It's actually higher than the passenger door. Now, these doors on these Fiestas are just not adjustable. The reason I'm saying that it's a little bit higher is because we've got this issue. I have to, well, to be fair, that is slightly better than what it was before. But I have literally doused this lock in silicone. I've still got it on my fingers. I've doused it, okay? I've doused that. And what I think is happening is this door is sitting too far up. I've looked at the driver's door and there's no way that that latch is going in the same place. The driver's door is absolutely fine. That's a bit better. It has helped. But there's no way of adjusting these doors because on Fiesta Mark III, so I just open it all the way, you've got this pin, you've got the two pins, but it's welded to the car. There's no bolts. There's no bolts for this. It's welded. So that's how it was put together in the factory. Absolutely ridiculous. At least it latches. That's the main thing. But it's just a little bit gummy. It's not... See what I mean? That should open. I have to really pull it a little bit more for it to open. Anyway, because I've connected the battery, I have to keep an eye on this because I'm cleaning things. I'm starting to notice a few things, but that's usual. Where the metal strip starts rubbing. I've just taken that metal strip back off. Now, this is where I get my keys out and we find out how good the windows are. Now, I have been putting silicone in all the runners. You've seen me do that in the last episode on these windows. Silicone on the rubber, on the runners, okay? Now, I'm just going to chuck this key straight in. If I can find the lock, that would... Okay, right. Now, what I'm going to do is driver's side. Now, remember, this was getting stuck and it wasn't going back up. I think it was just gummed. I really do think the runners were just gummed. Obviously, it's a replacement window regulator, not the one that I'm looking at to buy potentially for this door. Well, that's now no longer on the cards for one reason. But if I just put it back up, it gets a bit slow around that point. Now, what happened in the past is it would actually stop at that point, and I literally press the switch, nothing. It wouldn't go back up. But now it does. Oh, there we go. Now, it's still doing it a little bit. Now, this is the curious thing. I reckon there is still some gumminess. So if I just press this again, there we go. It's done it. All the way down. I think you have to go really gently with these windows, personally. I think the problem is with electric windows, and I'm going to explain this in a second, but basically I think most window regulators, especially Rover ones, they are so marginal, it's untrue. When I say marginal, the slightest bit of dirt and gumminess and the cables or the linkages, they go, well, basically a metal sort of arm in this that bends and enfolds its cables, and either way they either break or snap or get gummed up. But look at this. There you go. That was happening very consistently before. It was stopping, but if I find it stops, what I do is I go back down and then go up. Tell you what I found curious is that the logo on the driver's window is more or less faded than that one. That's more faded. What, the passengers have been using the windows more than the driver? I don't get that. Usually it's the opposite way around, but it's nice patina. So we're mostly on that window, I'm pretty happy with that. And I know that if it gets a bit stuck, I can just bring it back down and it will sort of ease it off and then bring it back up. That is very evident of a bit of gumminess in the rails. I could take it out because it's bolts and not rivets. This one obviously is rivets, and I've got to drill these out. I have got the correct pop rivets, and I can use my rivet gun. Woohoo! Before we go on the passenger's window as well, the fan. Remember how it sounded? Oh boy, yes, that's good. I mean, number one is like somebody blowing through their mouth very gently. 2. Oh, that's a lot better. Yes! A £10 heater has done the trick. Perfect. All the electrics work as far as I'm aware. Apart from the digits on that clock. That clock's going to come out, and I'm hopefully going to get a second-hand one for decent money. Probably cheap, as most parts are. Let's get dusty in here. Right, this window. Okay, so we're going to operate the switch. So what happens, guys? How have I magically repaired this window? Remember when I condemned it in the last video by saying, well, if I can move it, the cable's broken? No, that cable's not broken. No. I'm going to demonstrate, hopefully, what's going to happen here. Oh, boy, it's happened. There you go. Did you hear that? The cable is still moving around. That motor is working. This cable is still moving up and down. But what's happened is there's a little cam on the cable. And that cam is supposed to stop at that guide, and it's supposed to bring the window guide up. But that cam is somehow slipping through the guide, and it's not operating the window. So what I do here is I have to back the motor off, because basically what you're doing is reversing the polarity of the motor. That's all that's happening when you press the opposite poles of the switch. It's reversing the polarity. Okay, now sound like Doctor Who there. Now if I press it down, oh, did you hear that? Right, now that's the cam. The cam has just slotted back into the guide. It shouldn't be coming out like that, but I've got a feeling the reason it's come out is either it's damaged or the runners are a little bit gummed. Now, I've cleaned all the runners, but I am going to take this out. I'm drilling it out, and I'm going to investigate. I'm going to get those runners off, clean the window even more. This is going to be the cleanest sodding window ever. But I think this window reg has got some hope. Now, let's try gently again. No, it's not having it. Right, back down again. Right, there we go. You can hear the motor sort of clicking its way through. Right, try again. Yes, the cam has not come out. Oh, yeah, it's come out again. See, now, if I put my hands behind here, I can feel there's a cam somewhere. It's like a little metal cam on the actual cable, and I think it's what binds the whole cable together, because obviously the cable is one piece, but it has to be connected together by something, and that's a little metal cam. And what's happened is that cam has just slipped. So let's try again. Right, we'll start again. Can we reach the top? Come on. Yes, I've got to the top. Lovely. Well, that wasn't happening before, was it, guys? No, it was not happening. So this just goes to show, when I'm told my window regulator is broken, do not go on what other people say, as much as their intentions are good and as honest and as accurate as what can be. The previous owner was not aware about the particular state of this door. He just, the assumation, the window is not holding up, the cable must have snapped, and that's the usual assumption. But this is a bit more intricate. So this window is coming out. I'll just try it again. Oh, it's gone again. There we go. Right, now if I can feel, there should be a cam. I don't think I can show you guys. That's just... Oh, wait a minute. Well, the window will still come down, but it has slipped again. If I put it back up, nah, there you go. Now this is the motor recoiling itself. There we go, and then the cam slips back in. If you understand what's going on, you have to wind the motor all the way back again for the cam to go underneath the guide, and then when you press it back up, it clicks against the guide and then lifts the window. Okay? But sometimes the cam sort of, oh, I'm getting stuck, no, I'm going through, and the cam goes through the guide, the window stays where it is, but the cable is still moving round. So hopefully I've explained that a little bit more and given you an insight. You will see this in more detail, and I'll show you the cam in the next episode. But for now, I'm going to try and get this window, oh, for fuck's sake, come on. If I can get this back up, that would be a handy. No cardboard, no gaffer tape, and I've cleaned it all off the door. I've just got to polish the bloody overspray from that stupid job. Right, we can leave that there. Now, the other thing is that I'm curious about is this. Oh, well, obviously because the boot's open. I can hear that clicking, but the boot wasn't opening, so that's another thing I've got to have a look at. Yeah. So that's really where we're at. In the next episode, we're hopefully going to look at the window reg. I can hopefully get that back in one piece, and then we're going to go and start putting the rest of the gubbings back on the car for a start. Hopefully, it's going to be pretty epic. But as I say, we've got to put the oils back in. I've still got the drain plug. The oil is still coming out the sump of the engine. Probably 1 drop a day. That's the point we're at the moment. It's been open for ages, longer than I can think. I am going to have a go around. I mean, I could tidy some of that up. That's starting to rust. The other driver's side is actually worse. We are going to look at the arches at some point, but at the moment I'm just bearing with at this very moment in time. I am kind of conscious about that, but we will have a look more in detail at that, hopefully, if I get it on camera, and don't forget to film it. But for today, I'm just going to take this one off in the usual manner. In fact, are we actually free? Yes, we are. Can we? Come on. There we go. It's tight. There we go. Come on. How easy would that be to assemble? Oh my God. Why is it broken on this side? Honest to God. Do you know what? I'm sick and tired of people who can't do the simplest thing without breaking things on their cars. That just shows a lack of insight. That's really clean, that is. I'm really pleased. I'm going to polish all around these areas. There is something I'm going to do off camera because it's a really faffy, stupid job. I might have shown you this before. I think I've forgotten. But we have a little bit of rust that has already taken place and taken away some of my metal. I have got to make sure that hole there does not let water into this. So I've got to make sure that's done. I mean, you should really put new metal on this, but quite frankly, at the moment, I'm just going to put some filler in there and try and make that look as good as possible. See, that hasn't quite gone. I want to deal with that as well and spray this up properly. It won't look amazing, but it will look decent, and it will be covered up. The reason that's rusted there is because it actually stopped there, and you know where the two pieces meet, that's generally where you find the rust on these cars. That's the first car to give me a bit of rust. It's a really awkward spot because it's two metals clamped together. That's a really, really nasty job to do, and I am not happy for this car to be going to my body shop and getting absolutely disgustingly dirty. It's the most off-putting factor when it comes to this. So I'm going to do my best for the car within the tight constraints that I have, because I've spent enough money in other places. But considering that potentially I don't need a new battery for the moment, and the window regulator looks like I can deal with that and leave it as it is, but try and improve it. I want to know why the cam is slipping through, and then I can assess what to do. I've just literally cleaned all that. Luna Security, that's the glass company that did Mark II Fiesta glass. Only F-Reg Fiestas have that glass. Beyond that, they changed the manufacturer. Quite an interesting bit of trivia there, but I'm really happy with what's in the boot. So I'm going to get on, and we've got a bulb that's out. That's another thing I've got to change. Great, lovely. Just little things that I keep noticing around the place. Now the battery is connected, I will disconnect it later, but this area of the car needs a bit of a looking at. I mean, it doesn't look tidy. We've got some evidence of rust maybe there. I'm gonna have to polish this and get it up to scratch because this is not good. I do want to go around the car and make sure other areas are being tended to, and this needs attending to. And since it's a dry day, I'm going to work out what I need to do, but I think I need to support this. So I'm going to have a really good think. It will push my artistic filling skills to the maximum. But that's actually well, it's suspicious. I think there was a hole down here, but as I say, I'm going to do that arch the same time as that other arch. But this is a bit, yeah, first proper hole on this car that I can find. I need to get to that quick. Yeah. The more you look at that, the more you think, oh God, what's behind there? If it's a hole, then I will get it welded. It's as simple as that. Anyway, well, you have to. It's as simple as that. Anyway, you take care, guys. I'm going to leave this update here. Rather boring. I'm not doing any work that you can see. It's just cleaning up. I'll put these lights back on. I'll have a figure out what I'm doing here and do some polishing because it needs it. So take care, guys. See you in the next episode.